Former White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham's book continues to offer fun little anecdotes about people in or near the Trump White House. One of those anecdotes involves one of our favorite senators, Senator Lindsey Graham, to whom she gave the nickname, you're going to love this one, Senator Freeloader. Now, why? Why that nickname? Because apparently he be mooching. Now, she writes in her book, quote, well, it struck me that he was using Trump to mop up the freebies like there was no tomorrow. Seems that he still is. She explains, he would show up at Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster to play free rounds of golf, stuff his face with free food, and hang out with Trump and his celebrity pals. All that sounds great, except for hanging out with Trump, because I would Roblox myself. At one point, Grisham says, Graham kicked a White House staffer out of Bedminster so that he could take her room. Fascinating. Grisham also wrote that Senator Freeloader was sitting at a table by the pool with a big grin on his face, lapping up the goodies he was getting like some potentiate. And he said to me with a creepy little smile, isn't this great, man? This is the life. To which I say, yeah, hell yeah, man. Love it. Wouldn't like free stuff. I like free stuff. We all like free stuff. Everybody likes free stuff. If you are out there, if you're one of those people out there that are saying, I don't like free stuff, you're a goddamn liar. Everybody likes to get something for free. Money for nothing, chicks for free, or something like that. And I don't remember what that song is. But okay, but here's the thing now. As much as we all like free stuff, and apparently Lindsey Graham shares in that, he happens to go around shaming people for getting quote-unquote free stuff. So it's good for him, but if anybody else gets free stuff, oh no, he is not happy about that. In fact, he is very, very mad. See, do you remember during the fight over enhanced unemployment benefits, Lindsey Graham was on the side of cutting the extra $300 of unemployment money during a pandemic. So now a lot of states have since cut those benefits because they're saying, oh, people are so lazy. They're not working. In fact, here's what he said during one of those hearings, and he even threw his own family under the bus. Take a look.
Their belief is that the enhanced unemployment benefit is deterring people from re-entering into the workforce. There's a lot of jobs out there that are unfilled and will never be filled until you change the benefit structure. Does that logic make sense to you, given where we're at in our economy?
I understand the logic, but I've also not met Americans who would prefer not to work. There's a dignity to work in this country that most Americans
Well, I got
have.
a lot of people in my family that ain't working because they're getting, I'll show you some in my family. So bottom line is, I think there are people out there that are not bad people, but they're not going to work for $15 an hour if they make 23 unemployed. That doesn't make you a bad person. If you're working for $15 an hour, that makes you almost a chump.
Oh, you see, they're not bad people. It's just we're paying them too much to not work. So obviously, if we take that away, then they're going to go back to work. Well, okay. As I mentioned before, they did that. A lot of states have decided to end those enhanced unemployment benefits because there's so many jobs around. And guess what? Unemployment hasn't changed. Still jobs that are open and unfilled. Why? It's because, by the way, he said $15 an hour. Do you really know any place, any state other than, for example, California, where $15 an hour is not enough, by the way, to live? Any other place that's paying $15 an hour? No. You have a federal minimum wage of $7.25. Most jobs are like $8 to $10 an hour, sometimes $11. Once again, still not enough to survive on. That's why they called it a living wage, a $15 minimum wage, which, again, as I mentioned, not really enough for anyone to live off of. So Lindsey Graham, absolutely wrong. But yes, if you are getting more off unemployment, then yeah, it does kind of make you a chump in a way to go back to work. At the same time, this is not what's happening with the unemployment benefits, as we've seen literally no change in actual unemployment or employment as a result of taking away these benefits. So the thing is, right? So now we are all kind of chumps when you think about it. Regular working people, because we go out there and we bust our ass. Regular people working regular jobs. And you have people out there that make millions of dollars doing absolutely nothing. And again, I'm not talking about people on unemployment. I'm talking about trust fund babies, corporate executives, certain corporate executives, I should say, politicians that make hundreds of millions, or I'm sorry, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars when they contribute absolutely nothing. For example, cash flow from rental properties, dividend yielding stocks, or sales of products that require literally no effort on your part to manufacture, yet you, of course, have jacked up the price. I can think of certain, I don't know, pharmaceutical executives, pharmaceutical companies, people like Heather Bresch, who is Joe Manchin's daughter, worked for a pharmaceutical company that jacked up the price of EpiPens and got a $30 million golden parachute for jacking up the price of a life-saving drug. So these people are the real parasites in this country, the real parasites. Okay, so it seems like, I don't know. Also, going back to Joe Manchin for a second, Joe Manchin also gets passive income from EnerSystem's coal mining. He makes over $400,000 a year from that, doing absolutely nothing. It's in a blind trust. But understand that screws over him having that passive income coming from EnerSystems, coming from coal, and then voting against things like, for example, higher wages for miners, healthcare for miners, as well as climate change measures to make it so that the rest of humanity survives without massive disruptions in the economy from climate change, which is happening. He does this all for financial gain. And it's weird. So there is a moocher in this country. It's those people, it's some of the people at the very top who are the real moochers, the real freeloaders. And so they own things that aren't their labor. They own your labor. So now Lindsey Graham, being a freeloader himself, is not the most surprising thing. It's actually one of the least surprising things I've ever read. After all, most of our political class is nothing but freeloaders. They don't get paid to actually do things. In the case more so for Republicans, it's much easier to block things, and that's what they get paid to do. They get paid by big corporations to block things that help working people, the regular working class. And so one of the things, for example, is enhanced unemployment benefits for people during a pandemic, or stimulus checks during a pandemic. And again, the whole purpose, and they forget about this, or maybe they don't, maybe they just want to obfuscate on it and make you forget about it. But the whole point was to get people to not work for a period of time in order to drive down new infections until we got a vaccine. Now we have a vaccine, but you still have people that are not willing to take it or do any sort of safety measure. And so guess what? In those places, numbers are up. Numbers are way up. And the hospital system is stressed. And of course, we have problems with that, problems with high turnover in the hospital industry now as well, in the healthcare field. And so, it's almost as if they could have done something about this. And had we done more about this, had the government done more about this, especially under the Trump administration, maybe 700,000 Americans would have died from COVID. And by the way, the economy would have actually been able to pick up better and sooner had we dealt with the pandemic instead of let it get worse. But again, thank you anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, and of course, shithead Republicans for prolonging this disaster that is COVID and basically ensuring that we're going to be dealing with COVID for the time being, for the rest of the end of time. Appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.